Hello and welcome to Mrs. Long's second video on the Zulu Girl. I didn't realize I was going to have to make two, but I got completely carried away in the last one, wasn't watching the timer and got cut off at 15 minutes. So we will just spend a few minutes wrapping up this poem in the second video. If you think back to the first video, we were looking at the representation of the mother in the final stanza, her being compared to a hill which is looming largely over the baby, but also the Zulu people as a whole. So she kind of represents the mother or the protector, or perhaps the mother of the next generation of Zulu people, which this baby has come to represent. The second image of comparison in the poem with the mother is comparing her to the first cloud that signifies the oncoming of a storm. And you've heard of that phrase, the calm before the storm. And so this cloud is described as terrible and still. Still because it's silent, perhaps representing the silence of the Zulu people as they plan their rebellion. And terrible because, something awesome, possibly violent, is going to come out of it as a storm. But the point of it is to fight back. And a rain cloud not only represents a storm, but obviously rain refreshes the land, brings new life. And so the harvest of that, the storm, the coming harvest, could be the result of the years of repression, which will then be reaped in a rebellion of sorts. And the last word of the poem refers to the cloud bearing the coming harvest in its breast, but obviously the use of the word breast links straight back to our original image of a mother feeding her baby. And so it kind of brings the poem to a nice round close, harking back to that image. Right, so I hope you've got a better idea of this poem and the ideas it deals with. Quite a lovely little image of a kind of a Madonna and child sort of vibe of a Zulu mother who stops her work, her arduous work for the day, to feed her baby. But not just that simplistic sort of maternalistic idea of a mother nurturing her baby, but she comes to represent something greater, which is the mother of the Zulu people who, even though they've been oppressed, are only just sort of waiting in the wings for the rebellion to take place. And if you think back to the poet, and you can perhaps see the underlying message in this poem from the perspective of somebody who criticized the racist society in South Africa, who would perhaps then sympathize with the people who've been downtrodden. And we almost end with this tone of hope of something coming, or at least expectation that this is not their current situation is not a full stop to their story, but there's something that we can expect from them. And the idea is that they've been only for a time have they been cut down and repressed, but their ferocity and their unsmotherable, unquenchable heat, as it talks about previously, has been passed down to the next generation. And so it's not the end of their story.